this happen. And so this is it. I just sent out a note to all the principals I knew and said, does anyone have teachers who are knocking it out with the data notebooks, because we're ready at some grade levels to start doing it? And Ryan immediately gave me a couple of names and said, hey, let's have you guys come on over. So we're excited to hear what you got. So.
Great. Should we introduce everybody
Yes.
first? Okay.
Yes.
I'm Alex Helfingstein, I'm a kindergarten teacher.
I'm Nan Betry, second grade.
I'm Gina Avery, and it's also second grade.
Brittany Fuchs, second grade.
I'm Sarah Ackerman, 5th grade.
Paige Knoxness, 5th grade. Jill Ryder, 5th grade.
Abby Howe, video recording, instructional coach.
And Michael Orr, principal.
So the way that I do data binders in kindergarten, it's actually kind of 3 pieces that I think are important. And so we start by communicating to the parents what the kind of overarching goals of kindergarten are. And then we want to have a way for them to access that information all the time, and then have a way for the kids to practice at home. And so we did away with traditional homework. We feel like our priority is reading, so they read 10 minutes a night. But oftentimes parents are like, how can I supplement that? Or they're looking for something. And so our kids start out with this folder at the beginning of the year, and it just says my kindergarten goals, and it just has some overarching goals, like learning all the letter sounds, learning all the letter names, reading CVC words. And so this is nice because we can tell parents, you can do any of these things, practice any of these things in a fun way. And we talk about how to incorporate that. At our kindergarten parent orientation meeting, we talk about how you can incorporate that learning into your normal day, that it doesn't have to be like a sit and memorization type thing. Then we provide a way for them to practice those skills. So they can use a dry erase marker. We offer to send one of those home if they don't have one, and they can practice their letter writing. Counting to 100 is a big goal for us, and so this gives a great ideas for throwing a ball back and forth while counting, things that you can do to make it fun. And then we have here where they can help their child practice, and then it says I can count by 10s to 100, so that would be a logical next step. And then also we teach parents that if a child is having a hard time doing that flip over number, that if they learn to count by 10s, then they can often apply that to the 1s. And so we just kind of explain that. Then we have the sight words so that they can practice those in any way, writing their numbers, and we differentiate this based on just a writing sample that we do from the kids at the beginning. And so if they need a model of 1 to 10 and they need to work on that, they do that. If they're ready for 1 to 100, they do that. And then we switch those out. Also during my Math Daily 3, I can say, you're working on number writing. They know to grab out their folder, and it's right there, and it's exactly what they need to be working on. And then it has their writing their first and last name properly, and then reading at home. It teaches them how to kind of dig deeper with their kiddo. And then a log for the reading, and then we use the book at there. So that's kind of the parent getting that, okay, these are some goals, big goals that we need your help with.
And did you develop that? Did
Yes,
you put that
we just
together?
collected things that we thought were valuable and put it together.
Is that based on the essential learning for the PLC?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then the next step in that was to put together how can the kids know where they're at and what they're working on. And so at this point, I use this, and these are pieces that I've just collected from different places. My goal this summer is to look at the essentials, and then some of these pages are formatted in a way that I really love. And they have this tracking graph on the side, which really lets kids see their learning. And then some of the pages don't have that. So my goal this summer is these are pieces I've collected from other places, just to completely create my own, so that it has the features that I like. So it just starts out with writing their name. We want to see the progression of that. That's a big goal. And so they can see it, and we talk about it, and I cover that up when they're doing their next one. And then I know my colors, this crayons, you don't want to be too intimidating at the beginning, and so this is kind of our first introduction to the goal binder. Pile of crayons in the middle. Can you pull out the red one for me? And I just color. If they know, then I color the tip of that one. When we move on, I cover these up, and then they try to read the words, and we mark it off. But what I would like to do is put a graph up the side so they know how many they have. So now this is alphabet lowercase names. Anyone that has ever taught kindergarten knows learning all of those is a big goal in kindergarten. So here, September, October, November, December, January, February. And you can get as detailed as you want. You can label all of those. The way that I keep track is I use a smelly marker because that's fun. And I use the colors in the order that the colors are on this page. And so September is the first one I do. So when I'm sitting down and doing this with a kiddo, I am covering up so that they are not just able to sing the alphabet, and then they are telling me the letter names. And then we're talking about, you got 2 today, that is awesome. Look at all these letters that you need to learn. We've been working on M in class, you don't have that yet. Do you think that would be a good goal for you? What are some ways during Daily 5 that you can learn the letter M? And so then we talk about activities that they do independently in my class to learn that. Do you think you could learn that by next time we meet? And so then they come back and we say, okay, your goal was to learn the letter M. Let's see what, or whatever. Obviously, I'm not gonna tell them the letter name, but what was that letter that you were supposed to learn? Can you point to it on this page? And so then I'm like, you got it. What's your next goal? And so they're getting to see that. And the only reward they get from getting to the top is, you're awesome sauce. Give me a high five. And they think it's kindergarten. That's all they need.
Yeah.
So they're not getting like a tangible thing. They're getting that intrinsic feeling. So then I also take these when we go to care team meetings, because this clearly shows a child that's not making growth. Because if they don't have any growth, I wrote on the side, no new letters in September, no new letters in October. I also go back, just because you've told me once that you know it, doesn't mean that you're going to remember it forever. And so I do random checks, and if there's one that they knew before that they don't know now, I just circle it in pencil. And so it's just a note to myself to go back. So then it's got the sounds, and then the numbers. Again, I want to do a graph up the side for this so that they can see that. Once they get that 1 to 20, we have the counting to 100, and so you can see how far they were able to get in September, October, November. Then we go down to naturally counting by tens. I want to add on the counting by fives piece, even if it's on another page. This is random number identification, so obviously I can't sit down and check them on every number 1 to 120, and so I will just point to random numbers and they tell me what it is. If they know it, they underline it. That helps me to know, if this kid can just tell me these random numbers, then they know their number is 1 to 100. And I check them once a month on these skills, and so it's a big project at the beginning of the year, but right away I know what everybody knows and what each person needs to be working on. And so then this is number writing, as you know, that's big for us as well. And then some shapes stuff, and then it goes into sight words. And so you can see this particular kiddo kind of did a lot of wow, learned a lot. And then we slowed down, and then we got these other pieces in place. And so when I also get this out at parent-teacher conferences, and I go through it with a parent, and I'm like, look at all this awesome learning. Look where your kid started. Look where they're at now. If they're not growing, I can say they're not showing growth. These are things that we are doing. These are things that you can do at home. And then when you get to the back of it, past the sight words, it has reading CBC words. And so this child still has some letter sounds to get in place. So I don't start checking them on CBC words until they have all their letter sounds in place. And then it goes on to just reading some sentences fluently. When they get all of that, because I have kids that they get through all of this, and it's like, okay, what's next? And so I add on the first grade. You can add anything you want. Any pieces that you're like, oh, this would be of value, or like this summer I will look at the essentials and just make sure, okay, are we hitting everything that is there? So adding on first grade, and then I have some comprehension things where they will read a passage and then draw a picture that represents that passage, and I just add those on. So then this, and I'm almost done. I just love.
You're doing great.
all
I
these
love
pieces.
this. So good.
Okay.
I actually
She's a talker. She's a talker. She's a talker.
So the last piece for this is I use Seesaw in my classroom. I don't know if you're using that, but what I do is I photograph the child's page and I put on my own comment. So I say, you're doing such great learning. Grab your iPad and I'm going to take a picture of your goal binder. So then I just will play this one for you, because their parents are connected, and so their parents are seeing the page, and then hopefully it'll play the sound for you. If not, I can just recreate it. So, basically, well, maybe it'll go. Basically what it's saying is, Riley's working really hard on learning all of the letter sounds. He still has 8 letter sounds to get in place. The way that we pronounce them at school for the vowels is the short sound. And so A, and I just spell it out for the parent. And then, so it has a connection here. And then I say, I would love your support with helping him on these. We will continue to work on these at school, but he could use your support at home. And so fun ways to practice that are blah, blah, blah. And then the parent gets that right away. They know, I know exactly where my kiddo is at. And for this, there we go. And you know, you should be able to see the picture at the same time as the.
At least 25 of the 26 letters. So if you could support this at home.
So I told them, this is the goal right now. This is where your kiddo is at. They have not met the goal and they could use your support at home. And then I have other conversations with them about this is what we are doing to help them make the goal. So anyway, that's kind of
Working really hard at school to master that.
the whole package. It's not just about this, but that is certainly a key piece to it. And I am able to meet with kids about this during Daily 5.
Yep.
And so, and they even, I will have 2 kids get out their goal binder and they will flip through and they will talk about what they're working on differently. And then they will give each other strategies for how to learn that. So it's really fun. Anyway, that's
Alex is a
Thank
rock
you,
star.
Alex.
Alex is like, I love watching Alex teach. Would you believe that she's only been teaching for
4 years.
4 years?
My 4th year. Thank you.
Like,
Is this your first year to use these?
No, I've been
books,
using
or
them for
you
3
use-
years. So they are evolving. And one of the changes that I'm gonna make for next year is not only that I want the graph on the side of every page, but this year I've been stapling them down the side. And what I want to do this year is just hole punch them and put them in just 1/2-inch binders. Because right now I dig through the stack and hand it to the kiddo, but I want them during Daily 5 to be able to come and grab their own binder and go work on those skills. And then also it would allow me for like writing samples and things like that, kids that are struggling to get to where I want them to be, I can add in as many pages as I need, or kids that are being enriched. It's to keep stapling onto this, it's just not a good system. So I'll switch that for next year.
Awesome.